Hello, everybody. I first just kind of wanted to make sure that everyone can hear me. So if you cannot hear me, if you'll put that in the Q&A section, just to make sure that the sound is working. All right, we didn't see any comments, so we're going to continue and start our webinar. We appreciate everybody for joining us as we talk about GAP Connections, our certification program, and our partnership with the US Hemp Authority. For this webinar, we're going to introduce GAP Connections and then go through the hemp certification program, and then give Marielle a chance to talk about the US Hemp Authority. We'll have time for questions at the end, but as you have questions, feel free to put those in the Q&A section, and we'll make sure at the end to review those and get those answers. So GAP Connections is a nonprofit agricultural organization. We're a 501c5. Our mission is to provide leadership for the adoption of agricultural standards and practices which produce a quality crop while protecting, sustaining, or enhancing the environment, ensure the safety and rights of farm laborers, and recognize those producers who are committed to a higher standard. We are governed by a board of directors and operate with several working committees made up of grower members, company members, and stakeholders. So to talk a little bit about the team, my name is Jane Chadwell. I'm the executive director and president of GAP Connections. We have Lauren Walker, who is also going to be presenting during this webinar, who is our certification and assessment director. Amy Roachkis, who is our training and resource coordinator. Caitlin White, who is also going to be presenting, is our business manager and certification coordinator. And then Franciscus Rios, who is our farm worker training and program coordinator. We also have two new farm worker trainers that are not pictured, Guillermo Fernandez and Victoria Rosales. Our staff is located in Tennessee, California, and in North Carolina. Our membership has several different types of members. We have our company members. These are any organization that contracts with growers to purchase agricultural products or otherwise procures ag products used to produce consumable products. So simply put, these are the buyers. We have associate members. These are organizations representing those who have a commercial interest in the ag industry. They are our stakeholders and supporters. And then we have our largest membership, which is our grower membership. This is any individual grower of an ag product is eligible for this type of membership. We currently have over 10,000 grower members across 20 states. So why choose GAP Connections to go through our certification program? Our organization is farmer focused. Everyone who works at GAP Connections has grown up on a farm and/or is a part of an active family farm. From the beginning, we have included growers on our board and on our committees to ensure as we build programs and services, they are relevant and efficient for farmers. We have exceptional service and support. We want to make compliance and verification as easy as possible so growers can keep their focus on their operation and their crop. We have staff to answer phone calls, return emails, respond to texts to help support growers when they need help. Our goal is to be transparent and efficient. We strive to provide all the information you need to prepare to become certified upfront. You can see exactly what we ask, what we look for, and how we score. By providing this information upfront and clearly, we can allow growers to efficiently plan their preparation, processes, and cost to become certified. We also provide resources and tools to aid growers in compliance and best practices. This could be record templates, our farm worker training. Our idea is if you have a question on how to do something, we hope that we have a template, a poster, a video, a fact sheet to help you answer that question or adopt that practice. So talking about our resources, to talk a little bit more about what we do or what we have, we do grower training. It's offered in person and online. Since our beginning in 2013, we have facilitated over 900 training events across the eastern United States. The training allows growers to learn about the latest industry information, best practices, and any changes or updates to our programs, including new resources. Worker training. GAPC has held over 50 farm safety and compliance events with over 6,000 attendees. Our new GAPC customized farm worker training program that started last year trained over 250 workers. This interactive and educational training for workers is brought to the farm or to a centralized location for farmer and worker convenience and can be offered in English and in Spanish. We offer several different programs, monitoring programs. We'll talk a little bit more about those on our next slide. And then Lauren will be going more into the hemp certification program. So we've conducted over 8,700 monitoring visits, interviewed over 12,000 farm workers to verify the adoption and compliance of best practices and standards. We offer a worker concern helpline. It's free for the workers on operations going through certification. Through this, we strive for resolution of concern, but also to aid growers in implementing new policies, training, or communication methods to prevent future concerns. We also have a grower HR legal helpline. This is a partnership with Jackson Lewis, which is an employment law firm, to provide growers with a comprehensive risk management helpline service carefully designed to help manage workforce employment issues and questions. Growers can call and ask any HR or employment question that they may have. Our resource development includes those tailgate kits, safety DVDs, training guides, posters, templates, and other materials to help growers be successful. And then at the core of all of this is our central database. A grower has 24/7 access to real-time information on their training and their compliance, and this can easily be shared with company members through this central database. So we're here tonight to talk about our hemp certification program, but also wanted to mention some of the other programs that we have. We've had our GAPC tobacco certification since 2018. It's open to any GAPC grower member with tobacco acres. We started our hemp certification last year, and it's open to any of our GAPC grower members with hemp acres. We are also piloting this year a GAPC elevated housing, open to any of our members who provide employee-provided housing. And then also piloting in 2023 the advanced labor, which is an add-on to either of the tobacco or hemp certification programs. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lauren Walker, who is going to talk more in depth about the hemp certification program.
All right, thank you, Jane. So now that we've learned about the GAPC organization, let's look at how GAPC Hemp Certification can provide a way for you to be distinguished. So the first way is to show compliance with best practices in crop, environment, and labor. Also, having a progressive operation and crop management practices such as improved decision-making, record keeping, and compliance. You'll also be showing that you're committing to a working environment that promotes safety and worker rights, as well as continuous improvement through annual training on current production and compliance topics. And you'll also be showing that you're investing in the future of credible and sustainable hemp production. As Jane mentioned, we're very farmer focused. And just to give you a small recap of our 2022 season, we had 1,507 on-farm monitoring visits that were conducted, over 1,600 worker interviews that were completed. We had 2,165 GAPC certified growers in 11 different states, and over 290 hemp acres that were being grown by GAPC certified growers. So very farmer focused, have a lot of experience dealing with growers and their operations, and we're looking forward to another great season in 2023. So our goal is to make the process transparent and to support you through each step, from becoming a grower member to completing your application for hemp certification, to training and your self-assessment, through the monitoring visit, and ultimately the goal is certification. GAPC staff is available to answer questions at any step throughout this process. The first step is that grower membership. In order to participate in a GAPC program, you will need to become a GAPC grower member. In doing so, you will be assigned an individual 6-digit grower ID number and have access to a multitude of resources, some of those that Jane's already mentioned. From our mobile app and publications to the training platform, the HR legal helpline for growers. We have so many resources out there to help you be successful. And also, once you become a grower member, you can apply for certification. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Caitlin to speak about that application process.
Yes, so I'm going to talk briefly about the process of applying for the hemp certification. Growers may complete the application either by mail or online. If you wish to request a paper copy, you do so by calling Gap Connections, or you can email. If completing online, you'll go to gapconnections.com and you'll find the login button at the top right corner to enter the grower ID and the password. When you get logged in, this takes you to your grower dashboard. The grower dashboard is where you can find all the member resources, your record templates, your training, everything that you need to access for Gap Connections. Here is also where you'll find the Apply for GAPC Hemp Certification. You will click there and it'll take you straight to the application. I wanted to point out just some of the information that you'll need to have on hand when filling out the application. If you have everything together, it should take you about 10 to 15 minutes to complete. The Apply for GAPC Hemp Certification. You will click there and it'll take you straight to the application. I wanted to point out just some of the information that you'll need to have on hand when filling out the application. If you have everything together, it should take you about 10 to 15 minutes to complete. So you will be asked the name on your hemp license, your estimated 2023 hemp acreage, and variety. And so you'll see that when you begin typing in that variety box, you'll see a list of known varieties to choose from. If you do not see the variety that you'll be growing on that list, you can just type that variety in the text box. We ask how many workers are going to be working in hemp and where the labor is sourced from. If you are using a farm labor contractor, a valid FLC license will be required at the time of the application. We'll ask estimated acres of other crops on your operation, along with the number of livestock and associated grower information if that applies to you. So you'll hear this term associated grower, and just to kind of go over what that is, we allow growers who are working together to apply together. So Gap Connections certifies individuals, not the operation. So any person that needs to be certified needs to be listed on that application. There's no real weight to the term of primary versus associated. It's just the primary grower is who we're going to pick up the phone and call first. But all growers listed on the application will be required to complete training and be present for the monitoring visit. You can find more information about associated growers on our website or in the compliance guide. You will also be asked to select a monitoring firm at the time of application. There are 4 firms that you can choose from. We have ALGI, Arch Advisors, QCS, and KEMA. This is the firm who will come out and conduct your visit. You can click on the link to view the bios about each firm, as well as the pricing information to help make your choice. After you make the selection, you'll be placed on that monitoring firm's contact list, and they will reach out to you to schedule the visit. So you know that you've come to the end of an application when you submit payment. Online applications are $200, paper applications are $250, and each associated grower listed on the application is an additional $200. You'll receive an email upon submission and then another email when your application has been approved. If you listed any associated growers, they will need to log in using their grower ID and their password to accept the terms and conditions. Again, that is after the application has been approved. All associated growers must complete this step in order for the application to be complete. So if you're interested in applying, the deadline to apply is April the 15th. And any application submitted after the April 15th deadline is subject to a $100 late fee and will only be approved if the monitoring firm has capacity on their schedule. So now that the application is complete, I'll turn it back over to Lauren to explain the next processes of becoming GAP certified.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. So again, we just want to keep things transparent. So wanted to provide another look at the process and some of the deadlines that occur throughout the certification. So as Caitlin said, once your application is approved, we will notify you of that approval either by email or mail, depending on what your preferred method of correspondence is. The next deadline is for you to complete your online training no later than June the 30th. And then also an online GAP hemp self-assessment will also need to be completed online via that grower dashboard. And then lastly, you'll have your on-farm monitoring visit. So monitoring visits will begin in June and all visits must be completed by October 1st. And your audit firm will be contacting you via the contact method that you listed on your application. So it's very important to be responsive to the monitoring firms as they will be contacting you to schedule that monitoring visit while they are in your area. From the conception of GAP Connections, our goal has been to help growers succeed and to, again, make those requirements transparent. And one of the resources that makes this possible is the GAPC Hemp Compliance Guide, which we refer to fondly as our roadmap to success. It includes all crucial information to the program, such as the standard category, the standard itself, the grower question, the verification method, the remediation process, and the non-compliance consequence. So every single piece of information is located in our compliance guide, and we really think it's an open book for you to succeed. In addition to the compliance guide, there are also a number of other resources available on the GAPC website, like our hemp certification standards, our certification checklist, remediation guide, and record templates, just to name a few. All of our resources are available at your fingertips at any time of day. As we previously mentioned, the auditor or the monitoring firm is going to contact you to schedule your visit. And this is kind of an outline of what that on-farm monitoring visit process looks like. So the auditor will arrive at your operation for the scheduled date and time that you all agreed upon. They will discuss your operation and your practices with you, while also reviewing your records to complete the grower interview and record review portions of the monitoring visit. They will also ask to view your facilities to complete visual inspections of items such as your storage areas, PPE, and other equipment. If you have hired labor, they will request to speak to your workers to conduct worker interviews. And at the conclusion of the visit, the auditor will review the report with you and discuss any findings. They will leave with you a monitoring visit confirmation form and instructions on next steps for who you can contact if there is remediation needed or if you have any questions. And once GAPC Hemp Certification has been achieved, you will have the option to apply for the U.S. Hemp Authority certified logo. The partnership between GAP Connections and the U.S. Hemp Authority was made to better serve hemp growers, allowing for one audit to be completed, and growers that achieve a compliance status will also have that opportunity to boast the certification seal from both organizations. So for more information about the GAPC Hemp Certification, you can again review our website at gapconnections.com. You can call or email us, review the GAPC Hemp Standards and the Compliance Guide, or check out our other number of resources and record-keeping templates that we have. So again, if there are any questions, we're always here to help. And with that being said, I will turn it over to Dr. Mariel Weintraub with the U.S. Hemp Authority.
Great, thank you. And I really appreciate being allowed to be on y'all's call tonight. We're really excited about this opportunity to work with GAP Connections and really support the farmers. I'm going to start with a little bit of information and a brief history of the U.S. Hemp Authority. So on the next slide, you'll see a quick timeline. So we actually started back in 2016. We were originally the Kentucky Hemp Industry Coalition. And what we realized was that there really was a need for self-regulation because of the infancy of the hemp industry at that time. So in 2017, the Kentucky Hemp Industry Coalition became a part of the U.S. Hemp Roundtable and established a formal process to develop a guidance plan for hemp growth for its cultivation and for its processing. So the first draft of this guidance plan was presented at the HIA convention or the Hemp Industries Association back in 2017. So what ended up happening in 2018 is the U.S. Hemp Authority was founded as a result of the U.S. Hemp Roundtable's original efforts. We realized that we needed to have a separate organization that wasn't based on the political fundraising that the U.S. Hemp Roundtable does, and instead really concentrate on developing our certification and on supporting the hemp industry and growing alongside it. So in 2019, we had the original 13 companies pass their third-party audit and receive the U.S. Hemp Authority certification seal. In addition to that, we launched version 2.0 of the guidance procedures. So for those of you who are new to hemp, you will notice that the rules and regulations are constantly changing. There is a patchwork of state regulations that we have to deal with as well. And so as the hemp industry evolves, so does the certification alongside of it. So in 2020, we had to further update and add revisions to the guidance, resulting in version 3.0. And then in 2021, we actually expanded the board, adding new industry experts. We had ex-FDA, ex-DEA. We have an ex-attorney general from Arkansas. And we continue to make revisions and increase and better the guidance, resulting in the current form of 4.0. And then what's really exciting and the reason for this call is that in 2023, the Hemp Authority is now joining forces with GAPC, and we're allowing for certification reciprocity to help support hemp farmers. There is no reason for the farmers to have to go through two separate audits when our audits were so close and similar to each other. So in order to support farming and allow for farmers to have and boast the seals of both groups, we decided it would just be easier to join forces. And on the next slide, when we're talking about being certified and the value of being certified, just like GAPC is farmer-led, the U.S. Hemp Authority is hemp industry-led. It's our original initiative. We account for what makes hemp risky. Hemp's a little different than other products because it is a bioaccumulator. So where you grow it matters. Some people refer to it as a weed that would grow anywhere under any circumstances. You guys all know that it's not true. We want to make sure that what's put in finished products and that what's being consumed is of quality and is safe. We refer to it as truth in labeling for those finished products. And so we require our companies that are using our seal to test for cannabinoids, heavy metals, pesticides, and other contaminants. If y'all know that in advance, you have the ability to make sure that the hemp you're selling won't cause an issue to those that are buying it. And what's most important here is the reciprocity with GAPC and the hemp certification. So once you have been certified with GAPC, you'll be allowed to sign our licensing agreement to use the U.S. Hemp Authority certification. There is a small cost to that. It's $150 a year to use the U.S. Hemp Authority logo once you have the GAPC hemp certification. And so on the last slide, if it's there, we do have a way to contact us as well as a way to contact GAPC. So I appreciate it, and I will hand this back to Jane or Lauren.
Thank you, Marielle. And at this time, we'll open it up for questions. You can put those in the Q&A chat and we'll read them from there. While we're waiting on some questions, Marielle, I wanted to ask, currently, how many companies do you have that have gone through certification? So processors, manufacturers, and are they looking for suppliers who are certified?
I think right now what's worrying people most in the world we're living in right now is a shored up supply chain. So I believe the answer is yes. Farmers or the manufacturers have to be able to show where products or where their raw ingredients, so to speak, are coming from. They have to be able to show that they did due diligence in sourcing those products. And so the easiest way to do that is to follow a supply chain that has a certification running through it. I'm now on our website. So our website is ushempauthority.org, and we have a certified companies section. This changes rapidly. So 1, 2, 3. Right now there's about 2025. That does change, and now is March. Our original companies from 2019 that were certified in March. So there's a lot of recertifications happening now because it is a yearly audit for us. And on this website is a mix of manufacturers, brand owners, and there are some companies that do their own farming and their own manufacturing and their own brands. So that's on here as well.
Okay, thank you. And I see that we had a question about the cost of grower membership. The cost of grower membership is $75 per grower. And with that comes all of those things that Lauren mentioned during the presentation, and gives access to all of those resources and the opportunity to take part in the programs. And certainly feel free to contact us and we can talk more about that. The second question is I'm going to give to Lauren. What do growers find the most challenging part of certification?
So I would say the most challenging part of certification for a grower that's never been involved in the program would just be adopting the record keeping practices. There are a lot of things that, as we've dealt with growers and farmers, that they keep a lot of that information in their head. A lot of things are practices that you know exactly how you need to do each individual task, but keeping that information documented. As they say, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. So I would say adopting some good record keeping practices is probably the most challenging thing initially. But it also provides you a lot of resources year to year. So if you do have difficulties with a crop one year, you can go back and look at that documentation and see what you did in previous years, and then maybe alter those practices and then see if it worked or if it didn't. So that's probably the most difficult thing, but it also brings a lot to the table.
And I'll just add that we have a lot of different ways for growers to keep records. We have those templates, but we don't require the use of those. We have an Excel for those that prefer to keep their records in Excel. And then also, as long as you're keeping them in a online or on a software program, we have a record keeping checklist. So as long as you have those data points, you get to keep those records how you want to keep them. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, appreciate everyone participating. We are going to take this recording of the webinar and post this online. So if you know somebody who wasn't able to join us this evening, please direct them to our website or anywhere on our social media, and we'll have this posted so they can view it. And thank you, Marielle, for joining us.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure to be here, and we're really excited for this program. So if there's any questions at all about the Hemp Authority side of it, just feel free to email us at info@ushempauthority.org.
All right. Thank you, guys. Good evening.